Anticipation by Amy Lowell. Read for LibriVox.org by Shakira. September 2016. I have been temperate always, but I am like to be very drunk with your coming. There have been times I feared to walk down the street lest I should reel with the wine of you, and jerk against my neighbours as they go by. I am parched now, and my tongue is horrible in my mouth, but my brain is noisy with the clash and gurgle of filling wine cups. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
An Autumn Rain Scene by Thomas Hardy. Read for LibriVox.org by Ian King. There trudges one to a merrymaking with a sturdy swing, on whom the rain comes down. To fetch the saving medicament is another bent, on whom the rain comes down. One slowly drives his herd to the stall, ere ill befall, on whom the rain comes down. This bears his missives of life and death with quickening breath, on whom the rain comes down. One watches for signals of wreck or war from the hill afar, on whom the rain comes down. No care if he gain a shelter or none, unhired moves one, on whom the rain comes down. And another knows naught of its chilling fall upon him at all, on whom the rain comes down. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Autumn by Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. Read for LibriVox.org by Ian King. Thou comest, autumn, heralded by the rain, with banners by great gales incessant fanned, brighter than brightest silks of Samarcand, and stately oxen harnessed to thy wain. Thou standest like imperial Charlemagne upon thy bridge of gold, thy royal hand outstretched with benedictions o'er the land, blessing the farms through all thy vast domain. Thy shield is the red harvest moon, suspended so long beneath the heavens' o'erhanging eaves. Thy steps are by the farmer's prayers attended, like flames upon an altar shine the sheaves. And, following thee in thy ovation splendid, thine almoner, the wind, scatters the golden leaves. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Cleopatra by Algernon Charles Swinburne. Read for LibriVox.org by Newgatenovelist. Her beauty might outface the jealous hours, turn shame to love and pain to a tender sleep, and the strong nerve of hate to sloth and tears, make spring rebellious and the sides of frost, thrust out lank winter with hot August growths, compel sweet blood into the husks of death, and from strange beasts enforce harsh courtesy. T. Hayman, Fall of Antony, 1655. Her mouth is fragrant as a vine with birds in all its boughs, serpent and scarab for a sign between the beauty of her brows and the amorous deep lids divine. Her great curled hair makes luminous her cheeks, her lifted throat and chin. Shall she not have the hearts of us to shatter, and the loves therein to shred between her fingers thus? Small ruined broken strays of light, Pearl after pearl she shreds them through her long, sweet, sleepy fingers, white as any pearl's heart veined with blue, and soft as dew on a soft night. As if the very eyes of love shone through her shutting lids, and stole the slow looks of a snake or dove, as if her lips absorbed the whole of love, her soul, the soul thereof. Lost, all the lordly pearls that were wrung from the sea's heart, from the green coasts of the Indian Gulf River. Lost, all the loves of the world, so keen towards this queen for love of her. You see against her throat the small, sharp, glittering shadows of them shake, and through her hair the imperial curled likeness of the river snake, whose bite shall make an end of all. Through the scales sheathing him like wings, through hieroglyphs of gold and gem, the strong sense of her beauty stings, like a keen pulse of love in them, a running flame through all his rings. Under those low, large lids of hers, she hath the histories of all time, the fruit of foliage-stricken years, the old seasons with their heavy chime that leaves its rhyme in the world's ears. She sees the hand of death made bare, the ravelled riddle of the skies, the faces faded that were fair, the mouths made speechless that were wise, the hollow eyes and dusty hair, the shape and shadow of mystic things, things that fate fashions or forbids, the staff of time-forgotten kings whose name falls off the pyramids, their coffin lids and grave clothings, dank dregs, the scum of pool or clod, god-spawn of lizard-footed clans, and those dog-headed hulks that trod swart necks of the old Egyptians, raw draughts of man's beginning god, the poised hawk, quivering ere he smote, with plume-like gems on breast and back, the asps and water-worms afloat between the rush-flowers moist and slack, the cat's warm black bright rising throat. The purple days of drouth expand like a scroll opened out again, the molten heaven drier than sand, the hot red heaven without rain, sheds iron pain on the empty land. All Egypt aches in the sun's sight, the lips of men are harsh for drouth, the fierce air leaves their cheeks burnt white, charred by the bitter blowing south, whose dusty mouth is sharp to bite. All this she dreams of, and her eyes are wrought after the sense hereof. There is no heart in her for sighs. The face of her is more than love, a name above the Ptolemies. Her great grave beauty covers her as that sleek spoil beneath her feet clothed once the anointed soothsayer. The hallowing is gone forth from it now, made unmeet for priests to wear. She treads on gods and godlike things, on fate and fear and life and death, on hate that cleaves and love that clings, all that is brought forth of man's breath and perisheth with what it brings. She holds her future close. Her lips hold fast the face of things to be. Actium, and sound of war that dips down the blown valleys of the sea, far sails that flee, and storms of ships. The laughing red sweet mouth of wine at ending of life's festival, that spice of cerecloths and the fine white bitter dust funereal sprinkled on all things for a sign. His face, who was and was not he in whom, alive, her life abode, the end, when she gained heart to see those ways of death wherein she trod, goddess by god, with Antony. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Cross of Snow by Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. Read for LibriVox.org by Winston Tharp. In the long, sleepless watches of the night, a gentle face, the face of one long dead, looks at me from the wall, where round its head the night lamp casts a halo of pale light. Here in this room she died, and soul more white never through martyrdom of fire was led to its repose, nor can in books be read the legend of a life more benedight. There is a mountain in the distant west that, sun-defying in its deep ravines, displays a cross of snow upon its side. Such is the cross I wear upon my breast these 18 years, through all the changing scenes and seasons, changeless since the day she died. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Dawn Wind by Lola Ridge. Read for LibriVox.org by Bruce Kachuk. Wind, just arisen, off what cool mattress of marsh moss, in tented boughs, leaf drawn, before the stars, or niche of cliff under the eagles. You, of living things, so gay and tender and full of play, why do you blow on my thoughts like cut flowers gathered and laid to dry on this paper, rolled out of dead wood? I see you shaking that flower at me with soft invitation and frisking away, deliciously rumpling the grass. So you fluttered the curtains about my cradle, prattling of fields, before I had had my milk. Did I stir on my pillow, making to follow you, fleet one? I, swaddled, unwinged, like a bird in the egg. Let be, my dreams that crackle under your breath. You have the dust of the world to blow on. Do not tag me and dance away, looking back. I am too old to play with you, eternal child. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Doctors by Sarah Teasdale. Read for LibriVox.org by Shakira. September 2016. Every night I lie awake, and every day I lie abed, and hear the doctors, pain and death, conferring at my head. They speak in scientific tones, professional and low. One argues for a speedy cure, the other sure and slow. To one so humble as myself, it should be matter for some pride to have such noted fellows here, conferring at my side. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
During Music by Arthur Symons. Read for LibriVox.org by Newgatenovelist. The music had the heat of blood, a passion that no words can reach. We sat together and understood our own heart's speech. We had no need of word or sign. The music spoke for us, and said all that her eyes could read in mine, or mine in hers had read. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Epitaph for Richard Shortridge by Anonymous. Read for LibriVox.org by Sonia. Whitchurch, Richard Shortridge, 1831. Hark! What is that noise so mournful and slow, that sends on the winds the tickings of woe, in sound like the knell of a spirit that's fled, and tells us, alas, a brother is dead? Yes, gone to the grave is he whom we loved, and lifeless the form that manfully moved. The clods of the valley encompass his head. This tombstone reminds us our brother is dead. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
George, who played with a dangerous toy and suffered a catastrophe of considerable dimensions, by Hilaire Belloc. Read for LibriVox.org by Winston, Tharp. When George's grandmamma was told that George had been as good as gold, she promised in the afternoon to buy him an immense balloon. And so she did, but when it came it got into the candle flame, and being of a dangerous sort, exploded with a loud report. The lights went out, the windows broke, the room was filled with reeking smoke, and in the darkness shrieks and yells were mingled with electric bells, and falling masonry and groans, and crunching as of broken bones, and dreadful shrieks, when worst of all, the house itself began to fall. It tottered, shuddering to and fro, then crashed into the street below, which happened to be Savile Row. When help arrived, among the dead were Cousin Mary, little Fred, the footman, both of them, the groom, the man that cleaned the billiard-room, the chaplain, and the still-room maid. And I am dreadfully afraid that Monsieur Champion, the chef, will now be permanently deaf, and both his aides are much the same. While George, who was in part to blame, received, you will regret to hear, a nasty lump behind the ear. Moral. The moral is that little boys should not be given dangerous toys. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. The Hound of Heaven by Francis Thompson. Read for LibriVox.org by Winston, Tharp. I fled him down the nights and down the days. I fled him down the arches of the years. I fled him down the labyrinthine ways of my own mind, and in the mist of tears I hid from him, and under running laughter. Up visted hopes I sped, and shot precipitated adown titanic glooms of chasmid fears from those strong feet that followed after. But with unhurrying chase and unperturbed pace, deliberate speed, majestic instancy, they beat, and a voice beat more instant than the feet. All things betray thee, who betrayest me. I pleaded outlaw-wise by many a hearted casement, curtained red, trellised with intertwining charities. For though I knew his love who followed, yet I was sore adread, lest, having him, I must have naught beside. But if one little casement parted wide, the gust of his approach would clash it too. Fear wist not to evade, as love wist to pursue. Across the margent of the world I fled, and troubled the gold gateways of the stars. Smiting for shelter on their clanged bars, fretted to dulcet jars and silvern chattern the pale ports of the moon. I said to dawn, be sudden, to eve, be soon. With thy young skyey blossoms, heap me over from this tremendous lover. Float thy vague veil about me, lest he see. I tempted all his servitors, but to find my own betrayal in their constancy. In faith to him, their fickleness to me, their traitorous trueness, and their loyal deceit. To all swift things for swiftness did I sue, clung to the whistling mane of every wind, but whether they swept, smoothly fleet, the long savannas of the blue, or whether, thunder-driven, they clanged his chariot thwart a heaven, plashy with flying lightnings round the spurn of their feet, fear wist not to evade as love wist to pursue. Still with unhurrying chase and unperturbed pace, deliberate speed, majestic instancy, came on the following feet, and a voice above their beat, "Naught shelters thee who wilt not shelter me." I sought no more than that, after which I strayed in face of man or maid, but still within the little children's eyes seems something that replies they at least are for me, surely for me. I turned me to them very wistfully, but just as their young eyes grew sudden fair with dawning answers there, their angel plucked them from me by the hair. "Come then, ye other children, nature's, share with me," said I, "your delicate fellowship. Let me greet you lip to lip, let me twine with you caresses, wantoning with our Lady Mother's vagrant tresses, banqueting with her in her wind-walled palace, underneath her azure dais, quaffing as your taintless way is from a chalice, lucent, waping out of the day-spring." So it was done. I and their delicate fellowship was one, drew the bolt of nature's secrecies. I knew all the swift importunings on the wilful face of skies. I knew how the clouds arise, spumed of the wild sea-snortings. All that's born or dies, rose and drooped with, made them shapers of mine own moods, or wailful or divine. With them joyed and was bereaven. I was heavy with the even when she lit her glimmering tapers round the day's dead sanctities. I laughed in the morning's eyes. I triumphed and I saddened with all weather. Heaven and I wept together, and its sweet tears were salt with mortal mine. Against the red throb of its sunset heart I laid my own to beat, and share commingling heat. But not by that was eased my human smart. In vain my tears were wet on heaven's grey cheek. For we know not what each other says, these things and I. In sound I speak, their sound is but their stir. They speak by silences. Nature, poor stepdam, cannot slake my drouth. Let her, if she would owe me, drop yon blue bosom veil of sky, and show me the breasts of her tenderness. Never did any milk of hers once bless my thirsting mouth. Nigh and nigh draws the chase, with unperturbed pace, deliberate speed, majestic instancy, and past those noised feet a voice comes yet more fleet. Lo, naught contents thee who contentest not me. Naked I wait thy love's uplifted stroke. My harness piece by piece thou hast hewn from me, and smitten me to my knee. I am defenceless utterly. I slept, methinks, and woke, and slowly gazing find me stripped in sleep. In the rash lust ahead of my young powers, I shook the pillaring hours and pulled my life upon me, grimed with smears. I stand amidst the dust of the mounded years. My mangled youth lies dead beneath the heap. My days have crackled and gone up in smoke, have puffed and burst as sun starts on a stream. Yea, faileth not even dream the dreamer, and the lute the lutenist. Even the linked fantasies, in whose blossomy twist I swung the earth a trinket at my wrist, are yielding, cords of all too weak account for earth, with heavy griefs so overplussed. Is thy love indeed a weed, albeit an amaranthine weed, suffering no flowers except its own to mount? Must Designer infinite, must thou char the wood ere thou canst limn with it? My freshness spent its wavering shower in the dust, and now my heart is as a broken fount wherein tear-drippings stagnate, spilt down ever from the dank thoughts that shiver upon the sighful branches of my mind, such as what is to be, the pulp so bitter, how shall taste the rind? I dimly guess what time and mists confounds, Yet ever and anon a trumpet sounds from the hid battlements of eternity. Those shaken mists a space unsettle, then round the half-glimpsed turret slowly wash again. But not ere him who summoneth I first have seen, enwound with glooming robes purpureal, cypress-crowned, his name I know, and what his trumpet saith. Whether man's heart or life it be which yields thee harvest, must thy harvest fields be dunged with rotten death. Now of that long pursuit comes on at hand the bruit. That voice is round me like a bursting sea. And is thy earth so marred, shattered and shard on shard? Lo, all things fly thee, for thou fliest me. Strange, piteous, futile thing! Wherefore should any set thee love apart, seeing none but I makes much of naught? He said. And human love needs human meriting. How hast thou merited, of all man's clotted clay, the dingiest clot? Alack, thou knowest not how little worthy of any love thou art. Whom wilt thou find to love ignoble thee, save me, save only me? All which I took from thee, I did but take, not for thy harms, but just that thou mightest seek it in my arms. All which thy child's mistake fancies as lost, I have stored for thee at home. Rise, clasp my hand, and come. Halts by me that footfall. Is my gloom, after all, shade of his hand outstretched caressingly? Ah, fondest, blindest, weakest, I am he whom thou seekest. Thou dravest love from thee, who dravest me. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
In an Autumn Garden by Isabel Eccleston Mackay. Read for LibriVox.org by Ian King. Tonight the air discloses souls of 1,000,000 roses and ghosts of hyacinths that died too soon. From Pan's safe-hidden altar dim wraiths of incense falter in waving spiral, making sweet the moon. Aroused from fragrant covers, the vows of vanished lovers take voice in whisperings that rise and pass. Where the crisped leaves are lying, a tremulous, low sighing breathes like a startled spirit o'er the grass. Ah, love, in some far garden, in Arcady or Arden, we two were lovers. Hush, remember not the years in which I've missed you. 'Twas yesterday I kissed you beneath this haunted moon. Have you forgot? End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
An Invocation by Anonymous. Read for LibriVox.org by Sonia. An Invocation by a Town Mouse. Come back to town. Why wander where the snow-clad peaks arise? Our English sunsets are as fair with red September skies. Soft is the matutinal mist through which the trees loom brown. Come back, if only to be kissed. Come back to town. Forevermore in days like these, when musing on your face, my sad imagination sees another in my place. Say, do you listen to his prayer, or slay him with a frown? At any rate, I can't be there. Come back to town. Why linger by some far-off lake or continental strand? St. Martin's summer comes to make a glory in the land. The river runs a golden stream, where Wren's great dome looks down. Thine eyes, methinks, have brighter gleam. Come back to town. I hear your voice upon the wind, in dreamland you appear. But do you wonder that I find the day so long and drear? Lantisater and Sprachius, come, once more my life to crown. Without thee 'tis too burdensome. Come back to town. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Les Jeune Homme, Caressant et Chimère by John Addington Symonds. Read for LibriVox.org by Thomas Peter. For an Intaglio. A boy of 18 years, mid myrtle boughs, lying love-languid on a morn of May, watched half asleep his goat's insatiate browse, thin shoots of thyme and lentisk, by the spray of biting sea winds bitter made and grey. Therewith, when shadows fell, his waking thought of love into a wondrous dream was wrought. A woman lay beside him, so it seemed, for on her marble shoulders, like a mist irradiate with tawny moonrise, gleamed thick silken tresses, her white woman's wrist, glittering with snaky gold and amethyst, upheld a dainty chin, and there beneath her twin breasts shone like pinks at lilies' wreath. What colour were her eyes I cannot tell, for as he gazed thereon, at times they darted dun rays like water in a dusky well, then turned to topaz, then like ruby smarted, with smouldering flames of passion tiger-hearted, then 'neath blue-veined lids swam soft and tender, with pleadings and shy timorous surrender. Thus far a woman, but the breath that lifted her panting breast with long melodious sighs, stirred o'er her neck and hair broad wings that sifted the perfumes of meridian paradise. Dusk were they, furred like velvet, gemmed with eyes of such dull lustre as in isles afar night-flying moths spread to the summer star. Music these pinions made, a sound and surge of pines innumerous near lisping waves, rustlings of reeds and rushes on the verge of level lakes and naiad-haunted caves, drowned whispers of a wandering stream that laves deep alder boughs and tracts of ferny grass, bordered with azure-belled campanulus. Potent they were, for never since her birth with feet of woman this fair siren pressed sleek meadow swards or stony ways of earth, beneath the silken marvel of her breast, displayed in sinuous length of coil and crest, glittered a serpent's tail, fold over fold, in massy labyrinths of languor rolled. Ah me, what fascination! What faint stars of emerald and opal, but the shine of rubies intermingled, and dim bars of twisting turquoise and pale coraline? What rings and rounds, what thin streaks sapphirine freckled that gleaming glory, like the bed of Eden streams with gems enamelled? There lurked no loathing, no soul-freezing fear, but luxury and love these coils between. Faint grew the boy, the siren filled his ear with singing sweet as when the village green re-echoes to the tinkling tambourine, and feet of girls aglow with laughter glance in myriad mazy errors of the dance. How long he dallied with delusive joy I know not, but thereafter nevermore the peace of passionless slumber soothed the boy, for he was stricken to the very core with sickness of desire exceeding sore, and through the radiance of his eyes there shone consuming fire too fierce to gaze upon. He, ere he died, and they whom lips divine have touched, fade flower-like and cease to be, bade Charicles on agate carve a sign of his strange slumber. Therefore can we see here in the ruddy gem's transparency the boy, the myrtle boughs, the triple spell of moth and snake and white witch terrible. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Lightning Bugs by Hetty Howard. Read for LibriVox.org by Sonia. Lightning Bugs. Around my vine-wreathed portico, at evening, there's a perfect glow of little lights a-flashing, as if the stellar bodies had, from superheat grown hyper-mad, and spent their ire in clashing. As frisky each as shooting star, these tiny electricians are the Lampyrine Linnean, or lightning bugs, that sparkling gleam like scintillations in a dream of something empyrean. They brush my face, light up my hair, my garments touch, dart everywhere, and if I try to catch them, they're quicker than the wicked flee, and then I wonder how 'twould be to have a dress to match them. To be a princess in disguise, and wear a robe of fireflies, all strung and wove together, and by the cynosure of all, at Madame Hautant's carnival, in fashion's gayest feather. So sudden falls upon the grass the overpowering light of gas, and through the lattice streaming, as wearily I close my eyes, brief are the moments that suffice to reach the land of dreaming. Now at the ball, superbly dressed, as I suppose to eclipse the rest, within an alcove shady, a brilliant flame I hope to be, while all admire and envy me, the bright electric lady. But ah, they never shine at all, my eyes ignite, I leave the hall, for wrathful tears have filled them. I could have crushed them on the spot, the bugs I mean, and quite forgot that stringing them had killed them. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
A Memory by Lola Ridge. Read for LibriVox.org by Bruce Kachuk. I remember the crackle of the palm trees over the mooned white roofs of the town, the shining town, and the tender fumbling of the surf on the sulphur yellow beaches, as we sat a little apart in the close pressing night. The moon hung above us like a golden mango, and the moist air clung to our faces, warm and fragrant as the open mouth of a child, and we watched the outflung sea rolling to the purple edge of the world, yet ever back upon itself, as we. Inadequate night, and mooned white memory of a tropic sea, how softly it comes up like an ungathered lily. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
My Land and I by Henry Lawson. Read for LibriVox.org by Son of the Exiles. My Land and I. They have eaten their fill at your tables spread, like friends since the land was won, and they rise with the cry of Australia's dead, with the wheeze of Australia's done. Oh, the theme is stale, but they tell the tale, how the weak old tale will keep, like the crows that croak on a splintered rail, that have gorged on a rotten sheep. I would sing a song in your darkest hour, in your darkest hour and mine, for I see the dawn of your wealth and power, and I see your bright star shine. The little men yelp and the little men lie, and they spread the lies afar, but we heed them never, my land and I, for we know how small they are. They know you not in a paltry town, in the streets where great hopes die. O heart that never a flood could drown, and never a drought could dry, stand forth from the rim where the red sun dips, strong sun of the land's own sun, with the grin of grit on your drought-chapped lips, and say, is your country done? Stand forth from the land where the sunset dies by the desolate lonely shed, with the smile of faith in your blighted eyes, and say, is your country dead? They see no future, they know no past, the parasite cur and clown, who talk of ruin and death to last, when a man or a land is down. God sends for answer the rain, and away on the western lease the limitless plains grow green again, and the fattening stock increase. We'll lock your rivers, my land, dig lakes on the furthest run, while down in the corners where houses stand they drivel, Australia's done. The parasites dine at your table spread, as my enemies did at mine, and they croak and gurgle Australia's dead while they guzzle Australian wine. But we heed them never, my land, for we know how small they are, and we see the signs of a future grand as we gaze on a rising star. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Non sum Qualis Eram Bonae su Regno Cynarae by Ernest Dowson. Read for LibriVox.org by Thomas Peter. Last night, yesternight, betwixt her lips and mine there fell thy shadow, Cynarae. Thy breath was shed upon my soul between the kisses and the wine, and I was desolate and sick of an old passion, yea, I was desolate and bowed my head. I have been faithful to thee, Cynarae, in my fashion. All night upon mine heart I felt her warm heart beat. Night long within mine arms in love and sleep she lay. Surely the kisses of her bought red mouth were sweet, but I was desolate and sick of an old passion, when I awoke and found the dawn was grey. I have been faithful to thee, Cynarae, in my fashion. I have forgot much, Cynarae, gone with the wind, flung roses, riotously with the throng, dancing to put thy pale lost lilies out of mind. But I was desolate and sick of an old passion, yea, all the time, because the dance was long. I have been faithful to thee, Cynarae, in my fashion. I cried for madder music and for stronger wine, but when the feast is finished and the lamps expire, then falls thy shadow, Cynarae. The night is thine, and I am desolate and sick of an old passion, yea, hungry for the lips of my desire. I have been faithful to thee, Cynarae, in my fashion. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Prejudice Reproved by Lydia H. Sigourney, 1791 to 1865. Read for LibriVox.org. Prejudice Reproved. God gave to Afric's sons a brow of stable dye, and spread the country of their birth beneath a burning sky. With a cheek of olive he made the little Hindu child, and darkly stained the forest tribes that roam our western wild. To me he gave a form of fairer, whiter clay, but am I therefore in his sight respected more than they? No, 'tis the hue of deeds and thoughts he traces in his book, 'tis the complexion of the heart on which he deigns to look. Not by the tinted cheek that fades away so fast, but by the color of the soul we shall be judged at last. End of Prejudice Reproved. This recording is in the public domain.
Jeunesse Savait by Edmund Clarence Stedman. Read for LibriVox.org by Thomas Peter. When the veil from the eyes is lifted, the seer's head is grey. When the sailor to shore has drifted, the sirens are far away. Why must the clearer vision, the wisdom of life's late hour, come, as in fate's derision, when the hand has lost its power? Is there a rarer being? Is there a fairer sphere, where the strong are not in seeing, and the harvests are not sere, where, ere the seasons dwindle, they yield their due return, where the lamps of knowledge kindle, while the flames of youth still burn? Oh, for the young man's chances! Oh, for the old man's will! Those flee while this advances, and the strong years cheat us still. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Undersung by Lola Ridge. Read for LibriVox.org by Bruce Kachuk. There is music in the strong, deep-throated bush, whisperings of song heard in the leaves' hush, ballads of the trees in tongues unknown, a reminiscent tone on minor keys. Boughs swaying to and fro, though no winds pass, faint odors in the grass where no flowers grow, and flutterings of wings, and faint first notes once babbled on the boughs of faded springs. Is it music from the graves of all things fair, trembling on the staves of spacious air, fluted by the winds, songs with no words, sonatas from the throats of master birds? One, peering through the husk of darkness thrown, may hear it in the dusk, that ancient tone, silvery as the light of long-dead stars, yet falling through the night in trembling bars. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Villanelle of His Lady's Treasures by Ernest Dowson. Read for LibriVox.org by Shakira. September 2016. I took her dainty eyes, as well as silken tendrils of her hair, and so I made a villanelle. I took her voice, a silver bell, as clear as song, as soft as prayer. I took her dainty eyes as well. It may be, said I, who can tell, these things shall be my less despair. And so I made a villanelle. I took her whiteness, virginal, and from her cheek 2 roses rare. I took her dainty eyes as well. I said, it may be possible her image from my heart to tear, and so I made a villanelle. I stole her laugh most musical, I wrought it in with artful care. I took her dainty eyes as well, and so I made a villanelle. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Villon's Ballade of Good Counsel to His Friends of Evil Life by Andrew Lang. Read for LibriVox.org by Jordan Watts, Oxfordshire. Nay, be you pardoner or cheat, or cogger keen, or mumper shy, you'll burn your fingers at the feet, and howl like other folks that fry, and evil folks that love a lie, and where goes gain that greed amasses, by wile and trick and thievery? 'Tis all to taverns and to lasses. Rhyme, rail, dance, play, the cymbals sweet, with game and shame and jollity, go jigging through the field and street with mystery and morality. Win gold at gleek, and that will fly, where all you gain at passage passes, and that, you know as well as I, 'tis all to taverns and to lasses. Nay, forth from all such filth retreat, go delve and ditch in wet or dry, turn groom, give horse and mule their meat, if you've no clerkly skill to ply. You'll gain enough with husbandry, but sow hemp seed and such wild grasses, and where goes all you take thereby? 'Tis all to taverns and to lasses. Envoy. Your clothes, your hose, your broidery, your linen that the snow surpasses, or ere they're worn, off they fly, 'tis all to taverns and to lasses. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Villon's Straight Tip to All Cross Coves by William Ernest Henley. Read for LibriVox.org by Jordan Watts, Oxfordshire. Tout aux tavernes néophiles. Suppose you screeve or go cheap jack, or fake the Broads, or figure nag, or thimble rig, or nap a yak, or pitch a snide, or smash a rag? Suppose you duff, or nose and lag, or get the straight and land your pot? How do you melt the multi-swag? Booze and the blow-ins, cop the lot. Fiddle or fence or mace or mac, or moskeneer or flash the drag, dead lurk a crib or do a crack, pad with a slang or chuck a mag, bonnet or tout or mump and gag, rattle the tats or mark the spot. You cannot bank a single stag, booze and the blow-ins cop the lot. Suppose you try a different tack, and on the square you flash your flag, at penny a lining make your whack, or with the mummers mug and gag. For nix, the dibs you bag, at any graft, no matter what, your merry goblins soon stravag, booze and the blow-ins cop the lot. The Moral. It's up the spout and Charlie wag with wipes and tickers and what not, until the squeezer nips your scrag, booze and the blow-ins cop the lot. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
White Heliotrope by Arthur Symons. Read for LibriVox.org by Newgatenovelist. The feverish room and that white bed, the tumbled skirts upon a chair, the novel flung half open where hat, hairpins, puffs, and paints are spread, the mirror that has sucked your face into its secret deep of deeps, and there mysteriously keeps forgotten memories of grace. And you, half dressed and half awake, your slant eyes strangely watching me, and I, who watch you drowsily, with eyes that, having slept not, ache. This. Need one dread? Nay, dare one hope? Will rise, a ghost of memory, if ever again my handkerchief is scented with white heliotrope. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
With the Flower by Emily Dickinson. Read for LibriVox.org by Laura Southgate. With the Flower. I hide myself within my flower, that wearing on your breast, you, unsuspecting, wear me too, and angels know the rest. I hide myself within my flower, that fading from your vase, you, unsuspecting, feel for me almost a loneliness. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.